You get it? Because we're talking about Shadow of War. He's...
Hey, Manfield! I'm Indigo.
And I'm Krug.
And on today's episode of GameGorgon, we're going to be reviewing Shadows of War.
It's Shadow of War.
Whatever.
When you think you've got me, you haven't.
Shadow of War is a game set in the Lord of the Rings universe. You join Talion and his, I guess, sole passenger, Calibrimbar, who is the original forger of the Rings of Power, on an epic quest to destroy orcs, and destroy orcs, and destroy orcs, and destroy orcs, and destroy orcs.
There's some ogres in there, too.
Yeah, there are those.
Yeah, but are there orcs?
There are a couple orcs.
Oh, okay. Good.
For those of you that played Shadow of Mordor, there are a few key mechanical differences between that game and this one. Primarily, you now have the ability to dominate enemy captains and make them a part of your army.
The Bright Lord is your master. At your command, my lord. My lord.
And that kind of leads into the second key difference, is there is an army mechanic. So you can build up a following and attack opponent strongholds and siege a fortress, with the goal being to break through the gates, capture some control points, push through to the Overlord's lair, kill him, and take the fortress for your own, expand your army even more, rinse, repeat until you win.
Yeah, which is a lot of rinse, repeat. At least from what I've played. You've gotten much further in the game than I have. A lot of it is a lot of just rinse, repeat. Go after bad guys, either dominate them or kill them. Oh, they're not high enough, you're not high enough level to dominate them. Lower them 3 levels, and find them again, do it again, rinse, repeat, until you get to a level that you feel strong enough to go after the strongholds, which are the new thing.
Yeah, which is fine. There's also a story element in there. Indigo doesn't really pay very much attention.
No, I watched the story.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
It's a first-player game, of course I do. Multiplayer, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's yes, there's a story, but it's not correlated to the actual books. They've changed quite a bit from the books.
That's something to take into account. If you're a die-hard, this has to match the thing that I know from the books. That's not going to be a thing. And it wasn't the thing in the last game from what I remember.
No, this was supposed to be a storyline that was supposed to exist in the world that wasn't told in the other books, and they were at least timeline accurate. This has kind of taken that and just thrown it out the window.
Have you tried Sieges yet?
No, I actually haven't gotten that far in the game. I am kind of the worst player to play this game because I go around and either dominate or kill every single member of every army before I do the next storyline. I also unlock all of the poem lines.
Super completionist.
Yeah.
He finds every little nook and cranny of every map and completes 100% of it before he moves on to the next one. I have played the Sieges. They're really fun. They add a whole new layer of complexity to the game. There's like a pick, counter pick system where you have to pick captains that can oppose the other captain's strengths versus your weaknesses, and your strengths versus their weaknesses, and then deciding what fortifications you want your army to have versus what fortifications their fortress has. So do you need range for this to work? Do you need to batter down their walls? Do you need to have a lot of beasts? There's a lot of different interactions that you can choose from. And the ideal situation is that you are a direct counter for the fortress you're going into. The less ideal situation is that you're at the very least not directly countered by them. You're just kind of fighting one-on-one with not really very many interactions. And then obviously the worst case scenario is you are directly countered by the fortress that you're going up against. Like, you only have things to batter down walls, and their walls are super reinforced, and every time you hit them you take damage. Those things can all happen. It's not super difficult to get into a place where you have the advantage over the opponent. You can kind
at least early on in the game.
Yeah, you can, use the Nemesis system, which is still in play in this version of the game, to learn about the opposing captains before you go in and try and take the fort. But it doesn't mean that it's easy. There's still a ton of enemies on screen at any given time. There's still a lot of urgency. At least it feels a little bit urgent if you let it, take you away into the game world. As far as getting from one capture point to the next, to the gate, to the so on and so forth. There's also a couple of interesting things as far as sieges are concerned. So you can play against another player's castle or fortress. So for example, if Indigo builds a fortress, I can attack it. It doesn't affect his single player campaign. So if I kill one of his captains, it doesn't actually kill them for him. But I get rewards for doing it quickly, and he actually gets rewards for delaying me.
Oh.
So if you build something that I can't penetrate and I try and it takes me, 40 minutes, you're gonna get some rewards.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Like, and this is happening while you're not playing, right?
Yeah, you don't have to be signed in. It's kind of like Clash of Clans, but with Lord of the Rings and orcs. And it's actually way more entertaining than Clash of Clans.
There's also an entirely new item system: dagger, sword, bow and arrow, or hammer, the thrown weapon, basically. Cloak, armor, and a rune for your ring. And while this is a brand new system, I find that I don't really get too in depth. Like, I look at what the green number is and says, oh, it's plus 25 damage previously than the last one. Then I select that when I'm done.
I'm the exact opposite. I really tailor my items to my playstyle. The items all have their own unique kind of special abilities, and those can really shift the item in favor of somebody who prefers to play stealthy, or somebody who prefers to play super aggro, or somebody who prefers to play on a mounted animal.
My issue with that is that I get so many items playing through the game that I can't really pay attention, because the next item I get is so much better than the item that I previously had.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if I'll have like a level 10 item that has a quest that says stealth kill with a mount, right? And it goes, oh, and if you do that, you'll get plus 20 damage whenever you're mounted. Well, before I even complete that quest, I end up getting a weapon that's 5 levels higher and already does more damage even after it's been leveled up.
I think when you get further into the mid-game, that problem's going to go away for you, because my experience now is that I'll find an item, and then I'll find like 8 items. Let's say I find 8 items, and I end up scrapping all of them because they're all objectively in every way worse than what I have currently.
Well, I'm also using my money, like not my actual like cash money, but like the silver that you get in game to buy the loot boxes that get you items as well. And that's also part of it as well, because I'm getting so many items because I've got nothing else to spend my money on.
Right.
So I'm just spending money on that, and I'm getting tons and tons and
That's
tons
fair.
of items that I'm just like, well, I'll do the quest because I think it's fun, stealth kill or ledge stealth kill people.
Yeah.
And,
Some of them are really weird. Some of them are like stealth kill a mob that's on fire, and you're like, but how?
Yeah.
They
Like, oh, I
usually
gotta-
notice that I'm there when I light them on fire.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's so many like weird aspects to the items, and I think that adds like a little bit of fun to it. But
Definitely.
like I said, I swap through items so quickly. Like, I find it really hard to like focus on a specific item.
No, I get that.
And there's also these legendary items that you can gather by collecting words from a poem and then putting the poem together and then unlocking a door that gets you a legendary item. And that's also really interesting because it allows you to, like, people like me who like to go and explore all over.
Like, reward the completionist side of people.
Exactly.
And kind of a really important aspect of the legendary items is that they're a part of sets. So you have set bonuses. I haven't actually started using any of the sets.
Oh, okay, I have.
Have you really?
Yeah.
All of my set items are garbage tier compared to my rares and my uncommons. Like, I don't know why, but the set items don't seem to provide as much of a benefit as I think they could. I think it's maybe because I haven't gotten as many for a very long time compared to like the other qualities of equipment that I've seen. We've both played Shadow of Mordor, so we're gonna give you 2 ratings here. We're gonna give you one that's how Shadow of War compares to Shadow of Mordor specifically, and 2, how does Shadow of War compare as a game to the rest of the games? So Indigo, how do you feel about Shadow of War compared to Shadow of Mordor?
If I were to rate it 1 to 9.8, I would probably give Shadow of War probably a 6 compared to it, because I don't feel that it pushed far enough out of what Mordor was. Mordor was original, had a very interesting gameplay style. It had the whole Nemesis system. That was all brand new. Versus Shadow of War, which adds the fact that you can dominate and the siege wars. But overall, it doesn't add a ton of new features.
Yeah.
So comparatively, I would do 6 out of 9.8. And then Shadow of War compared to the genre, or like all games as a whole, between 1 and 6.3, I would actually probably give it like a 2.5.
Really?
Yeah. honestly, I like the game and I enjoy the game, but the problem with it is the microtransaction AAA title. That's a huge negative in my book.
Sure, fair.
The fact is that it really didn't push the genre that much further than it originally was. It's the same exact graphics as the last one. It feels like it's the same game engine.
It definitely is.
It's literally just a copy and paste that they just extended from the last one for a full $60 box price.
So maybe you would have given it a higher rating if it was just a DLC?
If it were just a DLC, I would have, 100% would have given it a huge rating. If it added more to the, not story, but if it added more options, I think, I don't know. I just feel like I'm playing the same game. I really feel like I'm playing the same exact game as Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War.
I get that, but I super disagree with all of it.
Do it.
So I, compared to Shadow of Mordor, would give Shadow of War like a 9. I think Shadow of War...
A 9 out of 9.8?
No, out of 10. I'm out of 10. Indigo's stupid bullshit doesn't apply to me. Shadow of War, I do think, adds a lot of stuff on top of Shadow of Mordor. It does use the same game engine. The graphics are, if not very similar, the exact same. But I feel, and this is going to sound really weird, connected to my army. I feel like when I dominate a captain, he becomes my ally. Like, I actually feel that connection to that captain. And when he betrays me, I feel betrayed. And when he dies, I feel sad. And I think the fact that they accomplished that successfully is a huge boon to the game and to the experience, at least from my perspective. I felt nothing like that in Shadow of Mordor. When I killed something in Shadow of Mordor, it was pixels on a screen that died, and I got experience, and that was all it was. And it was fun, but this is a whole new level of gameplay, for me specifically. Compared to the rest of the current offerings, the 2017 lineup of games, I'd give this about an 8, maybe a 7.5 out of 10.
Wow!
It is really fun. Minus points for, I think sieges are way too short. I think if they were a little bit more expansive, a little bit more involved from the beginning, it would be a lot better. I also think it took way too long for the game to work you into sieges. There's a lot, the first act, the entire first act is just not sieges, no domination. It's literally one act of Shadow of Mordor, and then you get to Act 2 and you're like, oh, now I can do all these cool things. And you dominate the first orc that you're going to control, and he is basically the tutorial orc that explains to you how everything works.
He was funny though.
He was funny, yeah. Some of the personalities are great. Some of the personalities make me want to banish you from my army and murder you, but you know, that's just me. If you've played Shadow of War, what are your opinions of the game? If you haven't played Shadow of War, do you think you're going to buy it now that you watch this? Or did Indigo dissuade you with his negativity and bullshit? Let us know in the comments. While you're down there, hit the like button for the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Hit the little bell icon so you can receive notifications whenever we post a new video. I'm Krug, at KrugQT on Twitter.
I'm Indigo, at IndigoQT on Twitter. And you can reach both of us at _QueueTimes.
We've been GameGorgon. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.